You found your person. Now let The Knot help you with everything else. The Knot connects you to the wedding inspo, vendors, venues, and planning tools you need to make your day totally you. Having helped plan 25 million weddings, we've got your back when it comes to every little detail like RSVPs, budgets, and more. Because your wedding comes to life with the connections that matter the most. Get started at theknot.com/audio. The Knot. Let's plan your wedding together.
Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
Chicago to your speakers.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, or even if you just want to go ahead and drop a quick take on the pod, go ahead, do that. 219-413-9405. And of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. And then shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So basketball season is still going strong. It's not too late to go ahead and buy those tickets. You can also use it for concerts, whatever else you're planning on attending. But something I plan on attending is a Pistons Day parade for an NBA championship. I can tell you that much now. I'm going to tell you that. All right, let me chill. No, for real though, this is how it feels, man. The Pistons are finally at a point where they're good and they're being taken seriously. I've been waiting on this moment ever since LeBron dismantled the Pistons back in 2007. I've been waiting on this moment for the Pistons to get good again for so long. So I just want to give a heads up and just a fair notice right there for anybody who's around Pistons fans and anybody who has friends who are Pistons fans. Just let them enjoy this moment, bro. Just let them, talk as much trash as they need to talk, act as crazy as they need to be. Just let them have this moment and let them embrace this time, because I don't know how long it'll last, truth be told. And I think the Pistons are a playoff team, and that's what we're going to discuss in a second. But this is just a magical moment. For me, I know I went to the Bulls and Pistons game here in Chicago at United, and it was lovely. This was before the All-Star break, obviously, but it was lovely. It was the most magical experience I've ever witnessed. I ain't gonna say ever, but it was one of the most magical experiences I've ever witnessed in my life. Watching the Pistons just beat the Bulls by 40 points and just not miss a shot. Kay Cunningham played great. Durant played great. Malik Beasley was just knocking everything down. It was just a true magical moment. True magical moment. Chicago Bulls fans, I'm sorry. I don't know what y'all doing over there. Front office needs to be shaken up. I've been saying this for years. Since I first moved to Chicago, I've been saying this. But anyway, bro, it's just give Pistons fans some grace. And then speaking of that, I'm not going to talk too crazy. But I do, from a realistic standpoint, I think it is safe to say the Pistons are going to get in the playoffs at this point. You can't sit here and call me crazy for finally thinking that. When we're at the 6th seed, they've been playing great ball, 6-game winning streak right now, potentially a 7-game winning streak. So let's just go out there and say it, 7-game winning streak because they beat the Clippers. And they've been balling, man. They've been playing good basketball. We got one of the best shooters in the NBA from a percentage standpoint in Malik Beasley. The team plays tough. They're physical. They share the ball. They play as a group effort. And although Cade has the stats and he's the main eye of attention and he's getting all the focus, he's not the only one that's good on the team. And he's not the only one scoring and facilitating. This is a complete team over here in Detroit. And yeah, I know they're still not going to get the hype because, as we know, mainstream media is only going to talk about the Lakers and the Celtics because that's just what they do. But as of right now, if the playoffs were to end, the Pistons will be going on to play the Knicks in the playoffs. And I think I'm confident in saying, regardless of who the Pistons match up against, the Knicks would probably be a good position for them to play first round of the NBA playoffs because I mean, Knicks, yes, they are a dynamic team. They're a great team, but I think the Pistons could give them the business. And if push comes to shove, if the Knicks do have a bad game or two, the Pistons might be able to advance. Now, obviously, this is me thinking optimistic, but let's get even more realistic here because the Knicks, the things that they have from a talent pool is obviously a little more of an advantage against the Pistons if you look at it talent for talent, going player by player. I can honestly admit that. And then another thing, too, that would hurt the Pistons is the Knicks' ability to stretch the floor. Pistons haven't been playing well against teams that can stretch the floor on them. So kind of preparing for a playoff trip, the Knicks would be a tough matchup because Karl Anthony Towns can spread the floor. Do I think the Pistons can make it a good series? Absolutely. Do I think they could win the series? Absolutely. But it's not going to be easy because Brunson is good. He gets a lot of foul calls. Karl Anthony Towns can score from inside out, and that's just hard to guard. As of lately, Duren has been playing great. Stewart has been playing great. But the Pistons still haven't really found an answer for stopping a stretch big or someone who can kill you inside and out. And that would be an issue we kind of run into all across the Eastern Conference. So not just with the Knicks, but even if we look past the Knicks and say we play the Pacers. Now, Pacers, they've been killing us so far this season. Seem to be our kryptonite right now. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's the rivalry of Pistons and Pacers. It's back in style. But as much as I want that to be a rivalry, I'm on the side of saying it cannot be a rivalry until the Pistons start winning games. Like, I don't even want to call this a rivalry until the Pistons start winning games because then we know, all right, each team, you don't know who's going to win. But as of right now, man, the Pacers been putting belt to ass. They've been killing us. So I would be more nervous going against the Pacers in the playoffs compared to going against the Knicks in the playoffs, being a Pistons fan. Knicks, we beat them in the Garden. K dropped 40 in a triple-double in the Garden. Like, he did his thing. He's having his way with the Knicks. But with the Pacers, it's tough, man. It's just always something. It's always something. So, I will say one thing about the Knicks, man, is to me, I kind of get the vibe. I know they got a lot of skill over there, and they got a lot of size too, pause. But just like, this team and the Knicks, I think they're fake tough. They haven't been playing good basketball. I think they're fake tough. I said Jalen Brunson get a lot of foul calls. Karl Anthony Towns, he gets some good foul calls too. But when this team is not receiving whistles, man, they just collapse. It's sad. It's sad to watch. They collapse. But this is why I say they're fake tough, because they're the New York Knicks. We see the highlight in the physical play sometimes, but also like on the offensive end, if this team isn't getting whistles, then we really see them start to fall apart. Everybody's crying at the ref, and then guys begin to not play defense and stuff like that. So, those are some of the things that I'm noticing with the New York Knicks, but things change during the playoffs, and this is the second half of the season, so anything can obviously change. But I kind of see the Pistons staying in that sweet spot of the 6th seed there, potentially having to play either the Indiana Pacers or the New York Knicks. I find it tough to believe that any other team would kind of move up in the seeding. I would be happy if the Pistons moved up in the seeding, but then that would still be, a little tough. But Bucks, they're all right there next to the Indiana Pacers. Bucks and Pistons would still be a good matchup, but I ain't gonna lie, I don't want to see Giannis. Giannis turns into a different animal against the Pistons. Don't know why, don't know how, but that's the only time Giannis Antetokounmpo seems to make his three-pointers, make fadeaways, and all other jump shots that he takes is when he plays the Detroit Pistons. Don't know why, but it just always happens. So being a Pistons fan, I don't want to see the Bucks. I'd much rather take our chances playing against the New York Knicks. Even though they do have the size advantage and can stretch the floor on us, I think we can adjust to that better than what I've seen us do against the Indiana Pacers or the Milwaukee Bucks so far this season. Both of those teams, in the Bucks and the Pacers, seem to have our card, man. I don't know what it is. Seem to have our card. So I would take my chances with the Knicks if I got to get past that first round. But let's just avoid play-in. That's ultimately my goal right now. I don't want to see the Pistons in a play-in game. Let's just get in the playoffs, secure that playoff spot, keep doing what we're doing. We're doing a good job so far, but I said it way early on. So I got to ask Pistons fans, do y'all believe me now? Because I dropped a vid and I said it, bro. I told y'all. I mentioned, I said, look, It was early on in the season, I know, but this team got a lot of talent. So instead of just saying play in, with the talent that the Pistons have on this team, we need to go for the playoffs. And now look at us doing tremendous things. Love to see it. All right, look, man, we got a quick side note here. I actually haven't had a side note in a minute, but I think the time is right. I think the time is right for a side note. And the side note here, man, is really just about the Los Angeles Lakers. So obviously we see so much coverage about the Lakers. We see so much news about the Lakers before and after the Luka Doncic trade, but I'm pretty sure I'm on a path of my own, and I'm probably on a boat of my own when I say that I don't think the Lakers are going to have that much success even after attaining Luka Doncic. Now, I know Luka went to the conference finals, but don't forget, he had Kyrie, and then if you really want to get serious about it, Luka is also the reason his team did not go and win the finals. So, let's be real, because he didn't play defense. He was getting torched out there. You can bring up all the injuries. You can bring up how his team wasn't this, how his team wasn't that. Kyrie didn't do this, Kyrie didn't do that. But at the bottom line, it all comes down to Luka Doncic not being a good defender and not playing defense. Now, as of right now, for the Lakers, they're pretty solid on the defensive end. Surprisingly, they're one of the best defensive teams in the Western Conference. I don't know how this was the case with Anthony Davis. This is the case without Anthony Davis. And I mean, for the Lakers, yeah, it sounds good on paper, but I think in terms of them actually making something happen in the playoffs, their best chances is to go against an experienced and an inexperienced young team. If they can find their way against a SGA in the Oklahoma City Thunder, it might be all right. They can play the Memphis Grizzlies first round. I think LeBron and Luka Doncic take it away. But if you go against the Denver Nuggets, it's over with. The Lakers' best hope to seeing any sort of playoff success this season is to go against an inexperienced young team, meaning the Oklahoma City Thunder or the Memphis Grizzlies. Because if you play the Denver Nuggets somehow, or if you got to play the Clippers, you might be in trouble. Even if you got to play the Warriors. I know the Warriors is in the play-in category right now, but you don't want to go against any team that is possibly like that. And I say like that, meaning they got a good veteran on there who can score. They got a good team of guys who have the playoff experience there. Because right now, you go against one of the young guys, you got a good chance. Obviously, Lakers still trying to figure out some kinks in the game plan of Luka Doncic and LeBron, but I think they'll ultimately get it together. Personally, Luka Doncic has to touch the ball more to me if this offense is really, really going to begin flowing. We've heard LeBron say it time after time, and he doesn't seem to quite show it, but he wants to play off the ball, and having the ball in Luka Doncic's hand is going to be the key piece of giving LeBron the ball and allowing him to do whatever he wants to do off the ball and stuff like that. So with the Lakers, man, overhyped for sure. But this Lakers team is probably more overhyped than they've ever been, man. They got to stardom. And again, I know I'm in a boat of my own here, but they got the stardom. I don't have much confidence in them. Also, too, when you look at the teams in the Western Conference, teams aren't really playing great basketball right now in the Western Conference. I mean, teams we expected to be good are not really playing good basketball. Minnesota Timberwolves at the 7th seed, play-in game right now. Dallas Mavericks, play-in game right now. Golden State Warriors, play-in game right now. We got a lot of teams that's going to get eliminated in the play-in if the season were to end right now. So, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, look, man, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. It's halftime. All right, look, man, so we got another segment here, and I gotta kind of want to respond to something I seen earlier on in the media today. Obviously, as you know by now, no news. Kind of a slight day, slow times, slow news, slow day for news in the basketball world. But I got some audio here. I'm going to just play it, and then I'll respond to it. It's from Road Tripping Podcast, Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye. They're doing their thing. You can listen to the pod, whatever. But just to get the credit, this is from Road Tripping Podcast. This is where the audio is. And here's what I'm going to play. I'll respond to it in just a sec.
Whether that's nostalgia is killing the NBA. Nostalgia is killing the NBA. The 90s basketball, Michael Jordan and Kobe, was not as clean as y'all think it was. Y'all forget that Jordan left the league for 2 years. Y'all forget that Kobe, rest in peace, quit on his team in the playoffs and did not shoot the basketball. So all this Kobe, Jordan, oh, he's not this, he's not that. That is propaganda. Every great player, whether that's Ant, Wemby, Bron, Steph, this, that. They compare him to a motherfucker 40 years ago. The rules weren't even the same. You're not really watching help side defense. Who's doing this? What is this rule? What is that rule? You're not watching. Nobody celebrates these new people. So why the fuck would anybody want to be the face of this league where you're going to get shitted on every network for not being somebody from 40 fucking years ago? It's ridiculous. It is unfair. Bron is one of the greatest players ever to play. Stephen Curry is one of the greatest players ever to play. Giannis is one of the great. Jokic. And you know what we do? We talk about fucking Michael Jordan. All this superstar era shit is over. The card cap called the second apron, it's over. Teams are going to take over. Nostalgia.
Now, look, man. Hey, I ain't going to lie to you. Shannon Fry was getting busy. He got busy on that one. And I'm afraid Shannon Fry low-key might have cooked right there because aside from some of the stuff, the main points he made in terms of we can't, for some reason, NBA fans can't seem to praise the talent that's in the league right now because we're too busy keeping our mindset on what Kobe, what Jordan, what Bron was doing when they were all in their primes. And that stuff is cool. I love the fact that some fans are so passionate. I'm one of them myself, but you cannot let with the things that people were doing 20 and 30 years ago dictate how good people are now. Like, it's a different game. Like he said, different rules. 1000% agree with all of that. And the main point that I agree with from Shannon Fry was that it's a team league now. It's not an individual, this guy's going to be the face of the league. It's a team league. So this guy's going to be the next face of the NBA and he's going to be the next face of the NBA stuff. That stuff is fun to talk about. It's cool to compare and say all of this. And he's got the traits of Jordan. He's got the traits and the dominance of Kobe. That stuff is cool to talk about. But at the end of the day, nobody cares. Nobody cares. And a big reason why nobody cares is because we're so stuck on what a lot of people from the past was doing and comparing. Like, comparing is not always a good thing when we're comparing guys from now to 20 years ago. Are you kidding me? So today with the NBA, you can forget about all this is going to be his league and this is the new face of the league and that guy's going to be the face of the league. No, it's a team sport and it's going to be a team NBA league at this point. So nobody really cares about what any one individual is doing because we're at the age now where you can choose what media you see and you can surround yourself around coverage around specific players and specific guys in the league. And personally, I love that the NBA has become into a point where there is no face of the league. A face of the league in the NBA is not needed, honestly, because you get a variety of great players that you see play on a nightly basis. Instead of media coverage always just showing one guy every day, 7 days a week, now we get to see statistics from 7 different guys each day of the week. And instead, y'all always complain. I'll put it this way. Y'all always complain about, all ESPN does is show the Lakers and talk about the Knicks and talk about the Celtics, which is very true. But if you don't want that to be the case, then you shouldn't be vouching for a face of the league because it's going to get even worse if we have one person who's only the face of the league. It's a team game. Nobody right now is even winning enough to become the face of the league because that's a key criteria for even being the face of the league right now. How you going to be the face of the league if you don't win? Nobody's winning enough. We ain't seen nobody get close to a three-peat. We ain't seen nobody go to consecutive finals 3-4 times in a row since Steph Curry and LeBron. Like, we ain't seeing nobody that's dominant enough to become the face of the league. And if anybody is, still, we tearing them down because we're talking about, Kobe did it with no other stars on it. LeBron did it and he did it with a couple different he did it for this. Like, you gotta remain present. You gotta remain present, bro. So this is what's hindering the NBA from growing and from fans to like really enjoy the game because everybody's so stuck in the past about what's going on. So, it's dope that, we remember these things and we remember the greats of the game, but also just enjoy it, bro. Just enjoy what's going on. Enjoy the basketball that's being played, because some guys are doing things that Kobe and them wouldn't have been able to do in their era. And obviously back then, it's the same thing. They're doing things that people before them couldn't do and that people now can't even do. But the rules have changed. Everything is different in the NBA now. You can't hand check. At one point in the NBA, you couldn't even play zone defense. So why are we comparing different eras like that? And this is why I always go back to there's only GOATs in eras. Like everybody always does LeBron is the best, Kobe, Jordan, and Kareem, whatever. Yeah, all that stuff is cool to compare. It's fun. It gives you a conversation to have. But at the end of the day, it's silly because the rules were different. The game is different. All of that stuff is different from when these guys played in different eras. So this is why I'm a firm believer. If you ask me who the GOAT is, I'm going to go with the most recent active and best player, which is LeBron right now. But ultimately, there's only GOATs in eras because Michael Jordan didn't have as much basketball as LeBron had when he was growing up. Kobe didn't have as much basketball as a guy from 20 years now is going to have. So 20 years from now, the game is going to continue to evolve, and there's going to be somebody we've never seen step foot in the league, and we're going to be like, wow, this is the best basketball player ever. It doesn't happen every single era we continue to do this. And I don't know how much more evident it has to be that there's only GOATs in eras. But, I mean, one day y'all probably get tired of arguing about it. And one day you'll learn. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Other than that, man, look, that's all I got for y'all. So I appreciate you for kicking it, for hanging with me, of course. Let me hear what you think about it. 219-413-9405. I'd love to hear your take on it. You think it's a face of the league? Do you think it's good for the NBA? Personally, I don't think it's good for the NBA. We don't need a face in the league. Face in the league isn't going to do nothing but make coverage even more boring. Nobody's winning enough to be the face of the league. Nobody is even that good enough to be the face of the league where they're that dominant over every other player right now. So we don't need a face of the league. Let's just see good teams play good basketball. And that's where we're headed so far. But let's embrace it. Every era is different. This era is clearly different from the Jordan era, the Kobe, the prime LeBron era. This is all clearly different. Let's just enjoy great team basketball. And then when someone becomes as dominant as a LeBron was in his prime, or as a Kobe was in his prime, as Jordan was in his prime, because they won so freaking much, then we can talk about maybe they're the face of the league because they're always winning. But how can we say someone's the face of the league if they're not in the spotlight for winning all the time? So yeah, we don't need that right now. But I'd love to hear what you want to say about that. 219-413-9405, of course. And then, we'll play your take back on the next episode. Man, I appreciate it. Let me leave y'all with a positive note. And the positive note today is just gonna be rest if you need to. But hey, at the end of the day, once you recover it, get back to it and get on it. Lock in. I'm gonna just leave it at that. Accept that however you want to accept it. And then, hey, man, send this to a cousin, a brother, an aunt, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, coworker, friend, family member, spouse, anyone you know. I promise you they will not mind. Just say, hey, check it out. I listened to it. You might enjoy it. Or, hey, just recommend it. Word of mouth, too. That's cool, too. Follow the Instagram at The Run Podcast. Follow the TikTok as well at The Run Podcast. YouTube at The Run Podcast. Check out all the short form content as well. Other than that, though, man, look, I'll be back later on this week. And so on and so on and so on.